Hello and welcome back to V8 TechWorks. So today we are going to start building authentication. So as you can see here in this diagram, we already have initialized our application, our Node.js application. And also in the last video, we created MongoDB here. And also right now we have done the connection. So what we are going to do now, we are going to handle the authentication, including also registration and login. And we are going to use JWT, so that's what we are going to do. And also we are going to make sure that we created the route for that. And also we are going to make sure that our server here is able to interpret JSON data. So to do that here, we are going to get into this entry file here. And you can see here where we have this middleware comment here, we can be able also to make sure that our application accepts JSON data. So to do that, we need to do app here, and then app.use, and then this is like a middleware, and then here I can call the express, and express has a function that is called JSON. So that means that it can accept the JSON data. So because if you don't do that, that means that your server won't be able to accept any JSON data that will come through. So that's why you can see we have added this. So the other thing is that also I've noticed that almost 80% of those people also watching this YouTube channel, they have not subscribed. So kindly, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to this YouTube channel and also like this video, and we can grow together. So let's get into our tutorial now. So here in our diagram, you can be able to see that this is our backend, and you can see for our backend here, we cancelled. That means that we are going to start with our backend. Already our DB is complete in terms of setup and everything. So the other thing after the backend here, we are going to background services. So let's get into now authentication, and we are going to start by registration. So in Node.js, we need to create a route that we are going to call auth, and here also we are going to install various packages like crypto.js, and also we are going to install JWT or JSON Web Token, so that it will help us when it on the authentication. So let's come here in our routes here, and I'm going to have auth.js, and this means that we are going to create a authentication here. So let me first of all start by also installing those two packages that I have mentioned. So I'm going to come here into this terminal part here, and under new terminal, or I will create a new terminal here, and I can make sure that I install those packages. So I'm going to navigate to my backend, and here I can do npm install, and then the first package that I'm going to install is JSON Web Token, like that. And also I'm going to install another package that is called crypto.js, and this one will help us to at least encrypt our password when we are saving it in our database, because you need to encrypt your password for security purposes. So this is a crypto, it is called crypto, and then it's -js, like that. And this is a package for JavaScript for actually making sure that you encrypt your password. You can use other packages like bycrypt or many other packages that are out there. The one that you feel comfortable with, you can use that. So this is a crypto.js, and let us install. And while it is installed, we can continue creating our registration. So let me just come back here in the output, or let me actually make sure that I close this here, and I will be able to see if those packages have been installed. And I think yes, these two packages have been installed. Here you can see added 15 packages and audited 103. So let me also scroll this, or let me push this part here down, so that we can also make sure that we have a space that we can work in. So let me see if my server is running. So yeah, so let's get into creating the registration. So first thing first, I'm going to import Express, and here we can be able to require or import Express. So Express here like that. And then the other thing is also we can create a route using Express. So we are going to create a router, and then this one we are going to call Express, and the Express has a function that is called router. So like that. And then before any other thing, you need to make sure that you export that router, because you are going to use it in our index.js file. So .export, and here we are going to be able to export it. So let us do module.export and then export that router, because I know I can forget. So let's do that first. And then the other thing here, I'm going to import the package, the crypto.js package, for which will help us to at least encrypt. So this is crypto.js. Let me use camel case, crypto.js here, and this is require, and then here this is crypto.js like that. And then here we can also be able to actually import JWT also, and then let us require and import it. So this is JSON Web Token, and also we can be able to import now the user model from the model. So require here, and then this one is models. So let's do models. Let's go out of this folder and into models, and then we are going to use user model here. So now let us start by registration. So I'm going to comment here registration like that, and here you can see registration, and I'm going to make sure that here I can do router, and then here, because this will be posting data, we can use post like that. And then this one will just be a route that we call register, and this post here, or any function that you use with router, will accept two argument. First thing is route, and then the other one will be just a callback that will have request and response. And this one is also anonymous function, but also here inside here now we can do our functionality for registration. So the other one here for logging in, yeah, we can be able to have login in like that, login, and here also we can do the same. We can have router dot post, and then here we can have the login route, and then also the callback function require and response. And inside here now we can do the logic for logging in. So now here for the registration also, we can first of all make sure that we create the new user. So we have new user here, and the new user is from a user like that. And then also inside here we can have an object. So this is an object, and we can have full name, and then this full name is coming from request.body. So request.body.fullname, because we are going to send our data using the body. So here also we can have the email. So for the email here, it is request.body and then .email like that. The other field is age. So this is from request.body .body.age like that. And then also we have country. So this is the data that we are going to send here. So this is request.body.country, country here, and then also we can have addresses or address of the user. So this is also from request.body and then .address, like that. So now the last one here, we are going to have a password. So we have a password like that. And then here we need also to make sure that we encrypt our password before even we save that to our database, because we want to save then encrypted password. So here I'm going to call my crypto.js here. So for crypto.js here, I'm going to have that as a function, or I'm going to call a function that's called EAS. You can see that. And also we can have encrypt. So you can see the function that I'm going to use is here is for encryption, and also we can use for decryption. There's another function for decryption. And here I'm going to have the first argument here for this function for encrypting as we are going as the password or the text that we want to encrypt. So you can see here request.body and then .password, and then we have another argument, which is now we are going to have another one that we are going to call the pass, and this one should be from .env, and that's why you can see here process.env and then password. And then we have now here down, you need to do .toString to make sure also is a string, and then we can save it to our database. So this is a function also. So here, because we are using process.env here .pass, that means that we need also to import .env here. So I'm going to import .env. So .env like that, and then this one is require, and then .env, and then down here also to make sure that I can use .env, I can say .env.config like that. And then now I can add also this variable here pass in this .env. So here I can have, let me make sure that I don't remove this port number here. So here I can have this pass, and this pass I can write anything. For example, for this one I'll call it parcel at 2024, something of the sort. So also here you can have, because you can see here we have .toString here. So now this is okay. So after this we can be able to do try catch, so that if there's any error we can be able to catch it. So here for saving is like a straightforward thing. So try catch, and here because we need to save in our database, we are going to do const user, and then now we can call the new user here, and new user, and then call a function that is called save, and this function here is from our DB or MongoDB. So here you can be able to see that we created this new user using this model called user, and you can see this model user here is from this folder that is called models, and then we created the model for our user using schema, MongoDB schema. So that's how you make sure that you can be able to create a user here, and using this new user, now we can call this function that is called save. Now the other thing that we are going to do is to make sure that this is a synchronous function. So here I can add a sync, and then here before we save here, we need to make sure that this is wait, because this one can take time before it is saved in our database, so that our application work the way it should be. So now the other thing is that I need to make sure that I send this user to the person who is the person who is registering, or the admin. So here I'm going to send user, back when it is successfully, when the user is successfully registered in our database. Also down here, if there's an error, I want to send that error, and here I'm going to use status code of 500, and here it is JSON, and then we can send that error in to our front end or our back end or our admin dashboard, that is. So here you can be able to see we have this also status code here 201, which means that is created, and that's the only thing that we need for our registration. So let's get into our login, and this part now will have several things, and it will be a bit long. So for our logging in, we need to start by first of all finding the user in our database. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to have a try catch. And for try catch here, the first thing that I need to do is to make sure that we have that user in our database. Otherwise, we need to return an error message. So here also it is a synchronous function because we don't know the time that it will take to find that user in our database. So here I'm going to do await, and then I'm going to use user model, and then there's a function that is called find one. So we need to find a person, and this function can take a field that you want to check with. So mine, I'm going to check with the email, so request.body, and then also we can have email like that. So you can see here we have this wait, and then a user. You can see we have user here, and then find one. That means we are going to find a user using this field called email here, and then also we can have we are going to use request.body and then .email that we are going to send in our login when we are logging in. So now after this, now we can be able to check if there is no user. So here you can see if there is no user, we are using exclamation mark. So if we don't have any user, we need to return that message to our admin. So this is we are going to return. So return, and then here is this dot status, and then because this user has not been registered, we are going to use 401, and then here is JSON, and then this data or this status code here is mean that you are not authorized or you have not registered. So you have not registered like that. And then also if you are registered, now down here, then we need to do several things. So the first thing that we also need to make sure is we need to unhash the password, so or to decrypt the password. So we are going to have hashed password here, so hashed password like that. And then here we can have crypto.js like that, and then we are going now to use EAS, the algorithm that we use to encrypt, and then this time we are going to use a function that is called decryption or decrypt. And inside here we can have now from the user who we have found in our database, we can have the password as the first argument, and then we can have now the other variable that we have saved in our .env, and then this one here pass. So using this one that we use to encrypt this variable in our .env and also the password here, we can be able to decrypt that password. So after that also, now let's get now the original password. So let's do that. So const original password here, and we can get that through taking this hashed password here. So we have this hashed password, and we can make sure that we call this toString here. And then the other thing is now we can have crypto.js, and then this time we can call .anc and then utf-8. So you must do that so that your password can be also in UTF-8, so that it will be converted back to UTF-8. So that is now we have our original password, and then now we need to compare. So let's compare that. So we are going to compare our original password here. So our original password, we are going to compare with the password that we have sent. So here, if now the original password that we have found in our database after decryption, and then if it is not the same with the password that we have sent through our body, that's why we are doing request.body.password here. Then we need also to return another error message, and this time here we can return using let me return here. So we can return another error message. So this is response.status, and here we can have 500 as a status code, and then .json, and then the message here will be wrong credentials. So this is meaning that there is wrong credentials, or maybe we can even add here wrong password like that. And then after that, now if that means that user is available, and then this also the password we have matched, then it means now we can proceed with our also the logging in. So the first thing that we need to do here is also we are going to make sure that we can decrypt here, or we can be able to extract some information. So we are going to have password and from the user, and then the rest of the information. And you can see here we have spread the other information here. So we have separated the password and information and the other information, because we don't want to send the password when that person login in our system. So also we have this information from user, and then it is from ._doc here like that. So that's from the now MongoDB. So that is the function from MongoDB. So now the other thing that I want to make is our token. So we are going to have our access token here, and our access token here we are going to have to use JWT or JSON Web Token, and then we are going to use a function that is called sign. And in this sign here we can have now the first argument here, we are going to make sure that we use the data from now our user to sign or to create our access token. The first thing that we are going to use is user ID. So user, and then in MongoDB it is _ID, and then also we can use the role of the user, and here we can have user.role. And then the other thing here is the other thing that we are going to make sure that we specify is now we need to have also another secret variable. So that's why you can see we are using process.env, and then jwt _seek like that. And then that means also we need to create this variable in our .env. So let's copy that, and then here in our jwt sec we can be able to also make sure that we have a variable here. So this will be parcel 1 2 3 4 5, and then this one, because when we are creating that access token also, and we are going to need to also access some routes, we need to use that same variable to make sure that the access token that is being sent is valid. So also after that, now we have also to make sure we specify the time that we want our access token to expire. So here we are going to create here expire in, So you can see expires in, and then here I want it to expire in 10 days. So we are going to do 10D here. And then now this one also, it should have as a string, so 10 days like that. And then now we have our access token. So after now we have created the access token, also we need to send this access token to the front end so that it can be saved by the user in maybe the local storage or maybe somewhere else, and then they can be able, when they are trying to access certain information, they can send the access token with their also the information. So here, let's try and make sure that we can now send that. So we are going to do res.status, and then here is 200 for success, and then we have JSON. And in here, you will be able to see that we are going to send info like that, and then we are not going to send the password, because that won't be very secure. So we are going to send only information, the other information apart from password, and now the access token, so that access token can also be used to access some routes. So now we have access token, and then here we can see we have error. So we can have status and then 500, then .json, and then here we can have error now. So we have error, and we can send the error to front end. So now I want to format my code first of all, because I feel this code has a lot of spaces. So now this is the functionality for logging in. And now the last thing also that we need to do is to make sure that we add that route in here in index.js. So we are going to import first of all that route. So we are going to do const, and then here I can call it auth route like that. And this one is from, so here we are calling it from our routes. So here you are going to /routes, so you can see the routes here, and then auth, you can also be able to see auth. So here we need to create another place that we are going to have routes. So let's come here, and we can have routes here. Let's comment that routes, we are going to create our routes here. So this one we are going to have, let me use app.use, and here we can be able to have the auth route, and then auth route we are going to use now this auth route that we have imported. So now we can be able now to try and start by testing our registration and our login. And now before that, I also need to send this or to push this code to our database. So let me, not to our database, but to our GitHub. So let me first of all go back into my browser here. Let me open my GitHub. So this is my GitHub here. I want to push this code, and so that we can also be able to track and how our system is working. So here I want to create a repository. So I'm going to have a repo here, and this one we are going to call it Parcel Delivery. This repo we are going to call Parcel Delivery System like that. Then this one is YouTube, or even let me just create or call it full stack here. Let's see, full stack like that. So, and then here I can create a repo. So repo is being created, and here I want to push my code now. So the first thing that I need to make sure that I do here is get into this folder that is for send it here in my documents where I've created my project. And now I can be able to copy this git init here and then paste it here to initialize git. So I think it is not working, so I'm going to do it manually, git init. And then the other thing is that I need to make sure that I add every folder on the file that is inside that send it folder. So you can see now we have added everything, and you can see here before we started creating our application, you see this file that we created here called git ignore, and we specified things that we don't want to push to our GitHub, because GitHub is a public place where also other people can be able to see our code. So now that we can commit, so I'm going to make sure that I add here commit. So this one is commit here. So I'm going to add the comment here, and I'm going to add the comment saying add authentication, and authentication have been created, like that. And then now we also need to add our origin, so I'm going to copy this here, this command here, then paste it like that. And then the last thing that I need to do before I push, I need to show you the branches that I have in this repo. And you can see it's only master, and I need to make sure that I create another branch. So I'm going to create another another branch that I will call backend, because we're going to have different branches for our system, for our code. So if I do again git branch here, you can be able to see we have our backend here. So now I can switch to that branch. So let me do that. So maybe first of all, let me push my code. So git push origin master, and then let us also add our passphrase here. So this is our passphrase, and then now the code will be pushed. And when I reload this part again, you'll be able to see the code has been pushed. So let me see here, and you can see only this folder here that is called backend is the one that has been pushed, and this is because the other folders are empty. So git or github will just ignore them, it won't push them. And the other thing that I want you to notice is that here we have not pushed a folder that is called node modules, and also we have not pushed .env file here, and that's because I used this git ignore and I specified it here. So we don't want to push .env file, and also we don't want to push node modules here. So yeah, so that is it. I want to also to close that, and now we can be able to open our postman here and be able to at least make sure that we test our backend, but that we do that in the next video. So I don't want to make this video very long, because already we have created the functionality for logging in. So in the next video, we need to start by make sure that our authentication is working. So see you in the next video, where we are going to test the authentication. Remember to like this video, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel, and then also make sure that the notification bell, you have turned on the notification bell, so that we'll be able to be notified the next time I upload a new video. And have a great day. See you in the next video.